Good morning from a brisk but beautiful Austin, Texas. My name is Sam. I'm so grateful that you would spend the next few minutes with me. Today I'm going to talk to you about a little bit of a touchy subject, and I'm going to present to you signs that either you as an unfaithful or your unfaithful significant other is actually growing in their recovery work. As I say often, this is not going to be an exhaustive list. It is what coffee has brought to my mind. No, I'm just kidding. It is what I think are some substantial markers that you can use to be able to get an idea. Are you making progress? Are you regressing? Because remember, there's no stagnation in life. There's no stagnation in recovery. You're either progressing or you're regressing. And we're not taking an all or nothing approach, but at the end of the day, ask yourself, as an unfaithful, are you growing or are you retreating, pulling back in your recovery work? Number one is that you're just, as an unfaithful, not lazy. It's not rocket science. At the end of the day, no one can make you want it for you. There has to be a sense of urgency. There has to be a sense of desire inside of you. No one can make you do the work. It has to come from within. And if it's not coming from within, why? Is it self-hatred? If it might be shame. It might be agony and self-hatred, self-shame, self-abandonment. Okay, I get all that. However, there should be a desire, a willingness to do work. And if you're lazy, it is not a marker of growth. Next, and I've learned a lot about this, and I continue to learn a lot about this, is a marker of growth is humility. Now, before my affair came out 2 decades ago, I was quite I can't say it. And as I begin to lose everything, as I begin to experience absolute upheaval in my own life that I had caused, as the grenade blew up in my life that I laid on and I pulled the pin from, humility became my life. I wish that I could say, "Oh, I humbled myself." No, I was humbled. We learn so much on the way down. We learn so much when we look from the bottom up at our life and society and everything around us. And if humility is not a part of your life, it will significantly alienate the betrayed. It will significantly alienate everyone around you. Richard Rohr, a great author that I love, said that life is a succession of dyings and risings. And we just don't want to die. We don't want to die to our image. We don't want to die to how other people see us and how we see ourselves. We don't want to die to the life that we once had. We can be so resistant, but I'm telling you, this is a time to die to your own self-image, to how you thought everyone should see you, to the image that you've been trying to maintain. It is time to let that crumble and find the new self-image that is rooted in humility, that is rooted in compassion, that is rooted in a self-awareness that comes from understanding who you are capable of being at your worst and who you want to become at your best, at your highest self. I think before we lose everything and the self-image, this bubble that we've created, explodes, we're constantly trying to show everybody who we are and how they should relate to us. And then we lose everything and we say, I don't really care. I just want my spouse or partner. I just want my family. I just want to get healthy. And that self-image begins to die. That was built upon pride, arrogance, ego, accomplishments, all the materialistic things. And we begin to go, hey, I really want to hit the reset button. And I want to be the best I can be, authentically, genuinely. Is that humility a part of your life yet? Or are you still trying to hold on to who you once were? Next is the ability to listen with empathy and compassion, not listening for a chance to speak, Not listening for a chance to refute what your betrayed partner might be saying, but listening compassionately, digesting the information, being safe for them to emote. Because let me tell you, listening is another love language. Safety is another love language. Now, some of you unfaithfuls just said, well, Sam, what about the 4-hour marathoning sessions? What about being up till 3 a.m? So am I just supposed to lay there? No, that's where boundaries come in. Quite honestly, you should be able to sit and hear your betrayed emote, maybe get upset, maybe get angry, maybe cry and weep. And there should be a listening compassionately. Then there's a point, and this is where expert help comes in, where it's kind of like, okay, we've been doing this for 2, 3, 4 hours. It's time to take a break. It's time to go to bed. It's time to disconnect for a little bit. But that doesn't minimize the fact that you've got to be able to listen compassionately, whether it be about simple daily business items or whether it be about the effects of the betrayal, the devastation that they are feeling, and the overall collateral damage that you guys are working through. Next is, if you're growing as an unfaithful, you should be reachable. It's a unique expression. What I mean is, when we retract in shame and self-hatred and we're swirling around in our own junk, we should be reachable. Because oftentimes, many betrayeds will say, hey, I can see you're struggling. I can see you're melting down. I can see you're having a tough time. And we're like, no, I'm fine. I don't need this. Or our therapist or coach, pastor, priest, whatever's trying to reach us, and we're alienated and we're pulling away and we're just unreachable. Or we're lost in a sea of shame and we don't want to be reached and we push everybody away. That's not growth. That's alienation. That's separation. That's being unreachable. And the problem is we love to be unreachable because we want to have our own pity party. Or we're lost in confusion and we're still sulking. But I'm telling you, when we're growing, we're able to be reached. We're able to be engaged with. Next is honesty. When we have growth, we are honest with ourselves, but we're also honest with our partner. If we can't be honest with ourselves, it's going to be really hard to be honest with our partner. Or you might be able to be honest with your partner about what happened, what's going on. Maybe you're not being honest with yourself about some issues, about what's going on inside. Maybe you're not being honest with yourself in terms of how it's affected you. But when there's growth, there is honesty. There is the roadmap that is starting with honesty, that eventually is getting to radical honesty with ourselves about who we've been, about what we've done, about what we've believed about ourselves and about life, and being able to no longer live in a shadow self, but to be authentic and open and sincere with radical honesty. If you're growing, you're being honest. I can assure you of that. Next is you're accountable to yourself and to your partner. I love when unfaithfuls try and tell me, I don't need to have a tracker on my phone. I don't need to have to send a text or to send a video or a picture of where I'm at. I'm a grown man or I'm a grown woman. Yes, that's the voice that your betrayed partner hears. Because it is built upon the false image. It's built upon pride. It's built upon a resisting force within you that just refuses to be accountable. I'm not going to share my passwords. Why? What do you have to hide? Now, I understand some of you may work in high-level jobs and high-level careers that prevent certain things from happening. Totally get that. But that doesn't rule out the need for you to be accountable and live a life in the light. Live a life that's accountable, that you're able to go the extra mile. Hey, I'll be home in 30 minutes, Google says. There's lots of traffic. Hey, would you like a picture of where I'm at? I'm at a restaurant with colleagues, or I'm in a meeting. I'm happy to send a sneak picture of the boardroom. I'm happy to do what I can to help you feel safe. You know what? If we could take that approach, it would help dismiss at least 50% of the struggle that the betrayed feels when we say, I can't send a picture, I'm in a meeting. Really, you can't take your phone out and just snap a picture of the floor or your shoes? If you put it on vibrate, nobody's going to hear your shudder. It's things like that, going the extra mile, being accountable, that means so much to the betrayed. Next, a marker of growth is when you, the unfaithful, are beginning to understand why you were unfaithful. You're beginning to understand more about why you went outside the relationship. I talk to so many unfaithfuls who have this rock bottom honesty and they say, Sam, I have no idea. I really don't know. Okay, well, that is a starting point. If you're growing, if there's progress, you're going to start to see why this happened. You're not going to have the full picture for years, but that doesn't mean that you're not going to at least have a picture. To the degree that you're willing to do significant work internally is directly proportionate that you'll start to come out of the matrix and you'll start to begin to see why this happened. And you'll start to begin to put it together, and then you can share out of that with your significant other. But if you're not growing, you're not going to begin. You're just going to be throwing out reasons that are not really authentic and not really true. As I leave you today, I love doing what I do. I don't always hit the bullseye. I work harder than you would believe to try and hit the bullseye. I don't know if I've hit the bullseye with you today, but I hope that you can take these markers and measure your own progress against them or measure your partner's progress. Maybe it's time to go, hey, Sam said some things. I see you're really working on these things. I just want to say thank you. Maybe you look at these things and go, man, honey, there's a lot of room for growth. Maybe it's time to go deeper. I don't know. But I hope that you don't quit today. Whether you're unfaithful or betrayed, I hope that you will keep going. I hope that you will push forward. I know it's the holiday season. It appears to make everything harder when it comes to recovery work. That's okay. Man or woman up, meet the challenge, one day at a time, slow and steady. Thank you for being with me today.